DMZ is tough, and it seems like over the last few days, somehow in a patch without telling us, they've actually made it more difficult. The AI is much more brutal, and obviously as you progress through the faction missions, they get more difficult too. We've just managed to complete the 3rd tier in all of the different factions. We're now going to be moving on to tier 4 and 5, so if you want to check that out, I stream every morning at about 9 AM. I'm going to be giving away loads of Mountain Dew and Burger King operator skins tomorrow morning, so Sunday at 9 AM. Make sure you subscribe and turn your notifications on so you get told when I go live. But now we've completed those first 3 tiers, I kind of wanted to share some tips, some information, things that we've learned along the way that have made some of this so much easier. Lots of people in chat have been asking for a guide like this, so here we go. Number 1, and I apologize if this seems obvious but you just haven't been able to do it, but it's really worth persisting with, is try to find a squad, or at least one other player you can do the missions with. Use your favorite Discord, I'll put my link below, or Reddit, or whatever you can, but try to find one other player who has similar missions to you and is willing to go into repeated games, try things more than once, can revive you when you go down. So many of the missions are much easier with teammates, as any progress they make counts for you, even if they're not on your missions. So say for example, today we did the one where you've got to snipe a load of operators in Sade City. Scotto was getting a lot of those kills and it was still counting for me, even though he'd already completed that mission yesterday. So it's much easier if you have teammates who you can speak to, who you can communicate with, who are willing to work with you on these things. If you've got a random teammate you've just done the autofill, try talking to them over the mic. Sometimes they might surprise you and be super nice. We had someone be unbelievably nice today and really sort of save us on one of the missions, and a lot of the time it won't work out, but it's better than nothing. Number 2, every drop try to have a plan for which specific mission you're going to complete. We normally just have one in mind that we're going to focus on, and everything we do in terms of setup is going to be based on that one, and then the other mission slots, because you can have 3 at a time, we kind of just add a couple of missions that might be done passively, like finding really rare objects, like trying to find the GPU or trying to find skulls and things like that, or just getting kills in a certain way. That way you'll almost definitely make progress on one mission, the one that you're trying, and then you might manage to get the others as you go through it. Number 3, tune your loadout to your specific mission. So only take insured weapons in if you absolutely need a specific build. Like there's one where you need the Seiken LMG with a bipod and 150 round mags, and you have to shoot helicopters at terminal, and that mission was an absolute nightmare for us because it didn't work repeatedly, even though we were doing the exact same thing over and over, and then randomly it worked for some of them. I've got no idea why. But for that one, you kind of need to take your insured weapon in. So you don't want to waste that insured weapon slot on a mission where you don't really need it at all. So the rest of the missions, I just rely on ground loot. I'll take whatever I've got in my contraband that might be okay. And enemies regularly drop RPKs and Vaznev, and they're absolutely fine for most of the missions. Number 4, in your equipment, generally I would say bring in stims, semtexes and an ammo box, unless you need some kind of specific lethal or tactical for a mission. You need stims because you will nearly always be low on armor and the bots shred through your health so quickly, so having a stim so you can just like hop into cover and stim up, because your regeneration takes a long time too, will really help you. Semtexes are really good for dealing with the AI if they're jumping out of a helicopter, if they're in one of those trucks, or if they've got the shields. You can just throw a semtex and normally kill them outright. The ammo boxes are obviously super useful. You run out of ammo all of the time, the enemies don't tend to drop a lot of ammo, and it means you can get those stims back, so I would bring in an ammo box too. Number 5, if you have a mission that needs you to extract a specific piece of equipment, you can complete these really easily just by putting that piece of equipment in your loadout, because all your loadout stuff for lethals and tacticals, you can take it in as many times as you want. There's no insured system, you don't run out of them or anything like that. And then if you've got a munitions box as well, what you can do when you get into the game is just drop the item that you had, the lethal or tactical, use the munitions box, that will give you 2 of whatever that thing was, and then you can pick the original one up. Then you can just go and keep buying munitions boxes. They cost $1,000 at the buy station. You can find them at all of the buy stations, I think, and you can fill up on stuff super quickly. If you've got a couple of teammates with you, you can do this so unbelievably fast. So a lot of those missions where it's like, oh, you need 7 tear gas grenades and 13 snapshot grenades, you can actually get done in one mission surprisingly easily. Number 6. When you load in, don't worry too much about where you spawn. When we first started playing, we used to get annoyed if we'd spawned on the wrong side of the map. But to be honest, you can cross the map super quickly in vehicles, and there's plenty of vehicles about. So normally when we load in, we just tag the nearest vehicle and make a beeline straight for that. If you want to avoid fighting while you're doing a mission, the river is a great way to get from the north to the south or vice versa, and you can get from the east to the west along the south coast and a little way up the west coast as well. So the boats are a really, really good option if you want to just get something done and get somewhere without having to worry about fighting all the time. Also, when it's coming to the last extraction, you can cross the entire map in about 2 or 3 minutes. So just keep an eye on that timer, and when it gets low to about 2 minutes, that's when you want to start making your move to get to an extraction point, preferably one that's a long way away from where the radiation is going to spread to. Number 7, when you need to refuel vehicles, be aware that there's often AI on them. I've seen loads of people and loads of teammates drive straight into a petrol station because the vehicle's on its last legs and then get absolutely destroyed. A lot of the times there's even an RPG soldier up on the roof. So if you really need to refuel or repair a vehicle, maybe park a little way away so the vehicle doesn't get damaged anymore, and then take the AI out before you bring the vehicle up. You can land helicopters on the roofs of the petrol stations and things like that, but again, if there's loads of AI there, you're going to get absolutely shredded. Sometimes they're completely empty. I don't know whether that's because other players have cleared them, or sometimes enemies just don't spawn them. Sometimes it's fine. And the same thing applies to the boat docks too. To be honest, while we're going about doing missions, we tend to just swap vehicles really quickly instead because there's so many about. Number 8. If you need to fight players in a certain area for your objectives, like there's one where you have to get operator kills in the Said City Mall, go grab the weapon case from the Juggernaut and then take it to the place you need to find people in. That means people will follow you, they'll come to try and get a weapon case, and they will come to you. So then you can just hole up somewhere with it, wait until the enemies come in, maybe set mines and stuff like that, and then take them out really easily. Number 9, if you need lots of money for an objective, like there's one mission where you need to exfil with 100,000, then there's a later one where you need to exfil with 200,000, do the demolition contracts, which are the ones where it's got like little bombs on the icon, and as a reward it'll ping all the nearby safes, so sometimes you'll get 2 or 3 safes out of that. You can use those to get cash, and then you can do the radiation sign contracts, where you basically pick up a Geiger counter and find secret stashes littered around the map. They contain a huge amount of money too, and you can actually, if you ever hear the clicking, you can pull that out and sometimes find extra hidden stashes which have loads of money, and they really do have a lot of money in those. Number 10, try to remember where you spawn each game, because it feels like, and I'm not sure about this, but it feels like a team spawns at nearly every spawn point every game. So if you spawn in the north of the city, for example, a team's going to spawn just north of the warehouses, one will spawn somewhere along the river near those warehouses, and 2 teams will spawn near the police academy to the east. That's really useful if you need to kill players, but it's also worth knowing if you're going in, you know you don't have very good loot and you want to avoid them. So just try to keep an eye on kind of where you spawn each time, so in future you can think, oh, the last game I spawned just over there, so I know there's probably going to be another team over there. Number 11, if you need a specific key for a mission, don't spend ages looking for it. We wasted hours doing this at the beginning. If it's a denied area key, so they've got an extra symbol on them, you can buy them from buy stations. So just try to find a buy station that's selling the specific one you need, and then look around until you get $30,000, which isn't too bad, especially if you've got a team, and then buy that and then just extract with it so you can take it into the mission when you need it. If it's a regular key, like there's one that needs the crane operator one, there's one that needs the poppy farmer's hut, there's like 80 of those to find. I think there's 87 at the moment on our spreadsheet where we've been keeping track of all this stuff. The chances of you finding it while looting are really slim. So I would say just concentrate on other missions and come back to that one once you happen to come across it. There's some missions where it says you need a key but you actually don't. So the mission that says it requires hotel room 302, and that's down in the flooded city on the south, you can actually go in through the roof without using a key at all. So just climb up to the roof, drop down through the skylight, and then you can unlock the door from the inside, because it'll just say unlock deadbolt or something like that, and that will give you that objective, so it'll say it's completed. Note that doesn't work if that room is a stronghold. If that building's a stronghold, it'll be boarded up, so just exfil and come back in another game. Also, for the Said City Mall, which you need to go to for a couple of the missions, you can get to the roof via the car park and then just drop in through the roof. You don't need keys for that one either. Then for my final tip today, the 12th one, remember you can skip one mission for each tier. You don't need to complete every single mission. We usually skip the ones where you need to collect dozens of a specific item because it's so random. Like if they say you need 40 lots of toothpaste, it's like, yeah, you probably could do that, but it would be super boring and really frustrating if you can't find them. There's one mission where it says you need to exfil another player's weapon after you kill them. I think the other part of it, you have to complete a bounty on a player. That one's bugged. Even if you exfil with their weapon, it doesn't count at the moment. So that's one you can skip. Just complete all of the other missions in that tier, and then that'll unlock the final mission that'll let you move on. So if you found any of these tips useful, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments also if you're stuck on anything in particular. And if you leave a like on this video, it'll show some support for it. And then maybe I'll do another one of these videos once I've completed tiers 4 and 5, just giving some more tips, especially about things that people say they're struggling with. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.